Tai labadiena, gerbiami žurnalistai, tai labai trumpai norėčiau painformuoti jūs, kad šiandien su Europos komisijos pirmininko pavaduotoju galėjome susitikti ir tikrai apsvarstyti labai svarbius klausimus. Tiesiai? Yes. Pirmiausia, pradėjom kalbėti apie ekonominę situaciją Lietuvoje ir kitose eurozonų šalyse. Taip pat aptarėm apie Europos komisijos rekomendacijas Lietuvai. Tai yra dėl ekonomikos augimo, vertinant, taip pasakyčiau, pavasario prognozes. Taip pat dar kartą patvirtinau, jog nepaisant Rusijos sankcijų ir gynybos biudžeto padidinimo, Lietuva išlaiko ekonomikos augimo tempus ir toliau lieka įsipareigojusi laikytis fiskalinės drausmės. Ir aišku, didžiulis buvo skiriamas dėmesys, kalbant apie ateinančių metų biudžeto projektavimą ir tikrai buvo kalbama apie tai, kad šalia esančios Lietuvos kitos valstybės tikrai susiduria su didžiuliais ekonominiais ir finansiniais sunkumais ir tai negalima neįvertinti, kad tai neatsilieps ir kitoms šalims. Aš turiu minti, apie Ukrainą buvo paminėta, Baltarusija, Rusija ir aišku, visą tai reikia įvertinti. Išsamei aptarėme ir Europos strateginių investicijų fondo klausimą ir šio klausimu detaliai kalbėjausi jau praeitą savaitę, kada aš buvau Briuselyje su kolega pono Valdžio Dombrovskio, Europos komisijos pirmininko pavaduotoju Jeriku Katainenu, bet šiandien mes irgi šiuo klausimu pasikeitėm nuomonėm. Taip pat Europos komisijos vicepirmininkas pristatė Europos komisijos rekomendacijas valstybėms narėms ir konkrečiai Lietuvai. Ir Lietuvai pateiktos rekomendacijos viešųjų finansų, socialinės apsaugos ir darbo ir švietimo sritise. Gal, aišku, painformavau, kad mūsų ekonomikos augimas pirmajame ketvirtyje buvo 1,5%, bet tikimės, kad jau antrajame pusmetyje pradėsim naudoti ES finansinės lėšas, kurios yra numatytos 2014-2020 metų finansinėje perspektyvoje ir tai paskatins irgi mūsų ekonomikos augimą ir tikimės, kad ekonomika Lietuvoje šiais metais turėtų pasiekti augimą nuo 2 iki 2,5%. Aišku, malonu buvo kolega kaip vicepirmininką Europos komisijos jau priimti vyriausybėje, nes mes nekartą esam susitikę ir bendravę, kai buvę ministrai pirmininkai Baltijos šalių.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, honorable media representatives. Well, it's always good to be back in Lithuania to have another opportunity to discuss both economic policy challenges and also, actually, this morning I was attending the conference devoted to the Lithuania's experience after joining the euro area, so the first half of the year. So this visit was also a good opportunity to discuss issues related to the European semester, findings of European Commission in country report and country-specific recommendations addressed to Lithuania. Overall, one can say that economy is developing and we expect Lithuania's economic growth to stay well above both EU and euro area average. Prime Minister mentioned a 2.5% growth forecast. Currently, European Commission's forecasts are even slightly more optimistic, about 2.8%, but we see that, unfortunately, conflict in eastern Ukraine, sanctions with Russia, also by now one can say also economic crisis in Russia are weighing down on the economic growth in the whole region, so we believe it's right for the Lithuanian government to use a prudent approach as regards economic estimates. As regards Lithuania's fiscal performance, Lithuania has made a remarkable turnaround during the last 5 years, and we can congratulate Lithuania on reaching its medium-term budgetary objective last year, 1 year ahead of the schedule, but however we see that there is a certain risk of deviation from medium-term objective this year. I had an opportunity to discuss it both with the Prime Minister and also with the Finance Minister, and also the ways how to address it. In any case, this is our first country-specific recommendation to Lithuania to avoid deviation from the medium-term objective this year and to keep deviation in next year not bigger than impact of structural reforms as regards pension system. Also, second recommendation is linked to the facts of population aging and large immigration, which are, of course, negative tendencies which are affecting number of working age people in Lithuania. And of course, it's very important to stop and reverse those tendencies as quickly as possible. Of course, Lithuania is not only country which is facing this, but also to have as broad labor market participation as possible, basically to use the full potential of the people in working age, which means that there is a need for more targeted education system in a sense of higher education, professional education, lifelong learning to ensure that people have skills which are needed for a labor market. Also improves the functioning of the healthcare system and address the reforms as regards the pension system. So, Prime Minister informed me on the plans as regards so-called new social model, the ways how Lithuania is going to address this. Another aspect in our recommendations is on taxation. Basically, we recommend to shift away tax burden from labor, especially low-paid labor, to other tax bases which are less detrimental to growth, like consumption, like property, like capital. And in case of Lithuania, we note that environmental taxation is substantially below EU average. So we're discussing those issues, and I must say that there is a clear commitment from the government to address challenges Lithuania is facing and to ensure sustainable economic recovery and job creation. And from European Commission point of view, we are very ready to work very closely with Lithuania and assist in this process, because I believe this is our common goal.
Elta, you mentioned about the deviations from the midterm goals here in Lithuania. Could you name specifically what are those deviations that Commission sees here? Thank you.
Well, all countries which have joined the fiscal compact or fiscal discipline treaty have committed to reach a medium-term objective, medium-term budgetary objective. In case of Lithuania, it's being set at structural budget deficit not bigger than 1% of GDP. Last year, Lithuania reached 1.2% of GDP structural deficit, which, given some margin of flexibility, can be considered as Lithuania broadly meeting the medium-term budgetary objective. However, this year we see that a structural deficit is increasing. According to European Commission's spring economic forecast, it's going to increase to 1.9% of GDP. So our recommendation is basically to avoid this deviation from a medium-term objective. As regards next year, Lithuania has also requested the possibility to use a structural reform clause to deal with pension reforms. So for the next year, recommendation is to ensure that deviation from medium-term budgetary objective is not exceeding this impact of pension reforms.
Question from AFP to Mr. Dombrovskis concerning Greece. Do you think an agreement can be reached on Thursday with Greece after the negotiation failed on last Sunday?
Well, as regards negotiations with Greece, we believe now it's really what's now really needed is political will from the Greek side to do this final effort, to do the final push to reach the agreement. As you know, already some time ago, institutions came up with a proposal which we believe is a good basis for agreement with Greece. And already during the last months, there has been substantial flexibility from the institutions' point of view, as actually already reflected in Eurogroup conclusions in February. So we have substantially reduced primary surplus targets for Greece in line with deteriorating economical situation in Greece. Unfortunately, during the last half a year, we had seen a return of financial instability, and with this also slowdown of economic activity. If our winter economic forecast for Greece was that Greece will have this year 2.5% growth, our spring forecast was already had only 0.5% growth. And even this may be optimistic if there is if this uncertainty continues, if there is no agreement, there is also a possibility actually for Greece sliding back into recession. So it's very important to reach this agreement. Then also there is a flexibility from point of view of Eurogroup and institutions as regards the program measures to reach primary surplus targets. And if Greek authorities have difficulties with some of the program measures, it's possible to replace them with other measures of equal fiscal value. But for this, then it's important that Greek authorities not only communicate what they do not want to do, but actually also communicate what they do want to do instead. So in any case, from European Commission point of view, we keep working to reach the agreement. We believe that economically, by far the best solution for both Greece and Euro area as a whole is a successful completion of the program, and that remains our main scenario we are aiming at. But the Eurogroup on Thursday will be a good opportunity to take stock of where negotiations are right now. And once again, to successfully complete the program, it will be very important that all sides, including the Greece, stick with their commitments.
It's also regarding Greece. We hear that some contingency plans are being prepared in Brussels, also in member states. Could you expand on that? And you mentioned that growth forecasts have been cut with regard to Russia, Ukraine conflict crisis, and how would Greek exit reflect on the GDP outlook for 2016?
Okay, as I already mentioned, what we are concentrating on the scenario that Greece stays in Eurozone and successfully completes the program. But it's worth noting that the time is running out. The program is extended till end of June. We are already in the middle of June, and actually technical talks were expected to be finished already by end of April. We are in the middle of June, talks are not finished yet. So we are clearly running out of time, so it's understandable that also member states, Euro area member states, are nervous, and there are some discussions in Euro working group, what are the possible implications of some other less favorable scenarios. But since Euro working group is a closed meeting, we are not elaborating publicly on deliberations of Euro working group. In any case, from Commission point of view, we believe that the best scenario is successful completion of the program, and that's what we are concentrating at.
Tai dėkojam visiems uždėmesi ir dėkojam viceprezidentui ir premjerui. Ačiū.
Okay.
Thank you very much.